What's up guys, TechLab here. Now, I know in the desktop space there's not a lot of innovation happening, but when it comes to mini PCs, companies are really reaching out there and making some really cool things. Just like this unit here from Beelink, this is actually geared towards being more of a home NAS or a server, but there is actually so much more you can do with them. So today we're going to be taking a look at it and we're going to show you an alternative that's a little bit more fun. So for those of you that haven't seen one of these before, this is the Beelink Me Pro. It is the bigger brother to the original Beelink Me, which we have taken a look at on the channel before. They have taken this one though in a new direction when it comes to design. Instead of the little tiny square white box, it's more of a cube in a silver, and it is also made out of aluminium, not plastic. They've done this for a few reasons, which we will get into later, but generally the unit is pretty nice looking. On the front, we have a full mesh panel for some really good airflow in here, and for front I/O, we have a single power switch, a USB 3 connection, and a couple of LEDs. They've kind of kept the front very simplified on this, which I really like because for my use case, I think it's going to go perfect. Then when you turn it around and we take a look at the back, we've got a couple of things here. We've got a top mesh panel, which is removable, and that will become useful in a moment. And then at the bottom, we've got the full I/O. At the top, we have an exhaust ventilation. Then underneath that, we have dual LAN connections. So even though they're keeping the I/O simplified, they're making sure you get all the important things for if you are going to be using this for a server or a NAS. We've got a single HDMI connection, which means there's only one display output on this, but again, it will make sense later on. Then we've got two USB 3 connections, as well as a USB-C and a combined audio and microphone jack. So again, it's keeping everything very basic, but it will make sense later on. The thing that makes this unit stand out from its predecessor is its actual storage capability. Even though the previous one could store up to 6 NVMe drives, which is plenty of storage for most people, this one actually is a little bit more backwards compatible because you can store hard drives in it. To be able to take this unit apart and get to the modular system on this, you need to turn it over, and on the bottom they've actually got this little rubber pad here which has an Allen key in it. So they've provided you with a tool, and if we just undo the two little Allen screws on the bottom, we can see our first storage option. It's actually a really cool design what they've done here, because the system is fully modular, so it does mean that you can actually take things on and off, you can change things out, and you can even upgrade the complete system in a very small time. Underneath this little cover though, which is aluminium and does have thermal pads on it, so it's actually going to protect things and keep things nice and cool. We do have a space for up to 3 NVMe drives. They provide one in the unit and they do come in different sizes, but you do have 2 more spaces there for PCI Gen 3 NVMe drives. Then there's also space for 2 traditional hard drives. To be able to access them, all we need to do is pull on the little rubber tab at the back, and that will actually pull off a magnetically connected ventilation panel. And as we can see, we've got 2 slots in here, plus the unit in the bottom. Again, it's very easy to be able to uninstall these. They've used the same type of screw across them all, so you just use your little Allen key and you wind out the screws on either side. Remove the bay from the unit by sliding it out, and then we actually have a space here for a 3.5-inch hard drive. It's very easy to install the hard drive as well. They've basically given you some holes down here, and you've got some screws in the box, and you just drop your drive on the right way around, so the ports are facing the back, straight into the dock, screw it in, and then you just slide the drive back in. It will take up to 2 3.5-inch drives there, or if you do have a 3.5-inch to 2.5-inch caddy, you can then install 2 SATA SSDs or something like that too. That is something extremely unique on a unit like this, and particularly one that looks this good, because generally NAS boxes that allow for extra hard drives, they get very dusty, they're very old looking, and they're pretty old fashioned nowadays. So they've done a fantastic job of this. You can also continue on taking things apart here by actually removing the kind of the mini PC itself, because in the bottom of this you do just have a basic mini PC, which is why it's actually so useful. All you need to do is just undo the 4 screws in each corner, grip the little ventilation panel at the back, and slide the unit out. So this is now the whole entire mini PC on its own slidable modular cable, and as you can see, we've got the power switch on the front, the USB from the front too, a nice little kind of PCI style card there, which is going to click into the panel in there, which connects everything up, and we've got a nice little tiny unit here. It does have a very good cooling system on this. There's a nice big fan which is going to be drawing air in from the rest of the unit out to the back, and this is what actually makes it upgradable, because you can actually pick up different types of these. This one here isn't the best of specs, but they do a multitude of them, and you can get ARM based versions, you can get AMD based versions, and of course Intel based versions. Inside this one here, we are looking at an Intel N95 processor, 12 gigabytes of DDR5 of RAM, and it is soldered to the motherboard, so you can't actually upgrade that. And as standard in this unit, we also have a 128 gigabyte NVMe drive. Now again, you can just swap that one out because it is fully upgradable. It's just basically inserted on the back there. So once you actually start installing all of the storage on this, you can pretty much fit up to like 24, 30 terabytes worth of information. So that's actually looking pretty good. Now with all these different storage options, you can actually build something really cool out of these. They do officially support things like Windows, Linux, pretty much insert distribution here. They support things like TrueNAS, Unraid, and of course Proxmox. I originally used my little Beelink mini system as a Proxmox system. It wasn't the greatest when you tried to get multiple environments running, but it would get some things running, and it worked perfectly fine, to be honest. It worked flawlessly, and so would this unit too, because they're pretty much based on the same thing. But for today, I've actually installed something even cooler than this, something a little bit more fun. So we're going to put the unit back together again, and I'm going to show you that. Because this unit supports Linux straight out of the box, you can actually get away with installing pretty much any operating system that you want, and the one that I've gone for is Batocera, and that's because I am turning this unit into the ultimate home theatre and retro gaming PC. For anybody that's used Batocera in the past, you will recognise most of the things that we're doing today, but there are some hidden features, particularly in the later versions of it, that I think are actually quite useful. The first one that you can actually get away with on this unit is actually playing your retro games, and you can go all the way up to PlayStation 1, and not just PlayStation 1, but you can also enhance those games too. Even though it is just a very basic N95 processor, the graphics on board are actually enough to be able to play this kind of thing, and you'll also get away with playing many PlayStation 2 type games as well. So you will be able to do that and go up to that kind of generation. But if we just head over to the PlayStation tab now, I've got one game installed, which is Crash Bandicoot. We can then hit our options on this game, and we can go to advanced system options. We can actually make the game look a little bit smoother. The original was very jaggedy, and you get a very kind of authentic PlayStation type experience, but by actually just configuring a few things in the emulation system itself, we can get it to nicely smoothen out and be like a remastered or enhanced version of it. It's very simple to do this. All we need to do is go to our video mode, and we're going to set that to a maximum of 1080p. We're going to go to the aspect ratio, and we're going to set it to a 16:9, just so it maximizes the screen on our monitor. Going down to the game rendering and shaders, we're going to actually turn on the Smooth Games bilinear filtering. That actually helps kind of smooth out a lot of those jagged edges and things. And then I'm going to turn the decorations off. So we just pop into here, we can just go all the way to the top, and we can set it to none. There's a bunch of other stuff that you can change as well in here, but I'm not going to be changing anything else. You can also change the enhanced rendering resolution. We'll actually turn that on a little bit. What that means is in the background, it's going to actually render the game at a higher resolution than it originally was. If you were to switch to something like DuckStation for particularly PlayStation, you can actually enhance that even further, and you can go all the way up to like a 4K rendering, but you will need a much beefier system than this one. I'm not 100% sure what the default is when you turn this on, but it does look much better. So now that we've kind of saved those settings, we'll head into the game and we'll see what happens. Now you might not be able to see the difference in terms of what we've actually done here. You can see that we've obviously gone full screen, but when it comes to smoothing out textures and things like that and edges of things, you won't be able to tell much on this screen, but if I do a comparison side by side, you'll be able to see the original versus the rendering that we're actually doing now. And there is a major difference there. Like I say, you can take that even further if you use something like DuckStation, switch your emulator to that. It actually gives you a finer tuning where you can pretty much select any internal render resolution that you want. It just means that it's going to actually need a little bit more beef to be able to do it the higher you go. But Crash Bandicoot is playing perfectly fine on this unit, and it's running very smooth. I didn't enable VSync, so you might get a little bit of a wobble on the screen at the moment, but it will be running at around 50 to 60 frames per second, which is absolutely perfect for most games. So you can definitely get away with playing your emulation type games all the way up to PlayStation 1 at least. I'm pretty sure it will play some PlayStation 2 games, particularly the lighter weight ones, and your Sega Saturn is easy on this, and anything prior to that is of course going to play. But this is not all that this system can do. There is so much more to it. When you first install Batocera, sometimes you do get a Steam logo, and that's because they're now starting to include Steam in the initial installation. If you don't get this when you install it, you will need to go and install it yourself, and it's very easy to do. All you do is hit F1 on your keyboard when you're in the top menu, head over to the applications in the Windows kind of directory structure, load up your Flatpak applications and select install of Steam on there. This will actually generate this icon on the top if you didn't have it before. and we can simply go into what we've got in Steam. Straight away, as you can see, it's kind of treating it as a system itself, and we can see the different games that we've got installed on this system. And with the specification in here, we'll be able to play all of our old classic PC games too. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start Steam itself instead of going directly into a game, so we can actually take a look at the interface that's provided there too. Now that we're in Steam, you can see that actually it looks like a Steam Deck. They've included the proper Steam GUI here, and we can move around with a controller. We're using an Xbox One controller here. It's just one of my favorites to use, but pretty much anything will work. And because the unit does have Bluetooth, you can also connect a Bluetooth controller up too. But we can just actually head over to our menu here, go to our library, and see some of the games that we've installed here. Half-Life was a game that was released on consoles at one point, but the better version, of course, is the Steam version, and this will play beautifully on this system, as well as things like Half-Life 2, Tomb Raider Anniversary. All those games that we've got installed there will work beautifully on this. We'll just head over to, well, actually, we'll just load a quick game, and then you can kind of see the difference here. So again, you can now play the game with keyboard and mouse if you want to, or you can play with a controller, but everything runs beautifully smooth on this system, particularly these older games. You will be able to definitely get away with all the older Valve games, all the way up to Half-Life 2, of course, and probably get away with playing Black Mesa 2. That's not that demanding, and if you just lower the settings a little bit, you'll be able to play that one. So you can definitely play PC games on here, and for those of you that are into your old retro stuff anyway, it's going to run perfectly fine, to be honest, because those things don't really require that much in terms of processing power. So now that we know that this unit can play our favorite retro emulation games on the consoles that we've always loved, as well as the older retro PC games that we've had in our backlogs for a long time now, it's time to see where the home theater comes into this. Well, in Batocera, you can actually access one of the most popular home theater type systems that's ever been out, and that is Kodi Media Center. For some reason, they don't include it on the carousel here, which is a little bit annoying, but if you press start on your controller, you can actually see Kodi Media Center is in the list. Hit that, and Kodi will actually start up, and if you've used Kodi before, you'll know how powerful this is. If you haven't, it actually gives you access to pretty much play any type of media that you want. We've got the system here, and it is again all controller based, so you can actually navigate around with your controller, and if it's Bluetooth, it will work as well. We can switch it off, we can go to configuration, we've got TV shows that we can go to, we've got movies, we've got music videos that we can organize in there, and with the fact that we can now load up our old hard drives, we can actually load up any old movies we've got, any old ROMs we've got, anything like that. We've got TV, radio, games, add-ons, pictures, and videos. Now, a lot of people that use this do tend to kind of put all of their photos and stuff on here because it's a nice way of being able to navigate through them. But when it actually comes to video playback, we've got a little demo video here, the Big Buck Bunny, which is one of the Blender demos. It will actually play up to 4K video as well. So you just hit it and everything starts playing. Now, this is only a short movie that was obviously done in Blender, but it's actually quite funny to watch, and the quality that you get is absolutely fantastic too. So overall, the Beelink Me Pro is actually a fantastic system for basically the ultimate home theater and retro gaming PC. The specifications inside of it are enough to be able to play pretty much everything that you want in that kind of segment, as well as playing any of your movies and stuff like that. And because you can include so much storage in there, you're not going to have to stream anything from anywhere ever again. You can simply just have it all in one box. And then that box is so small, you can pretty much take it wherever you want. This unit has absolutely impressed me in terms of this. I think it would be absolutely fantastic as something to start building this type of system out of, and because the software is completely free, you can definitely get away with building some really cool stuff on this. It runs very quietly, it looks very nice in your living room or anywhere that you want it, so I think Beelink have done a fantastic job. Let me know in the comments below what you think of the Beelink Me Pro. Are you a user of the original Beelink Me? Because if you are, I think you're going to really like this unit too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel if you like this kind of content. I'm going to keep this unit as this because I think this is fantastic, and maybe I'll run it in the studio for keeping myself entertained in my slow times. And I'm sure, as always, I'll catch you guys in the next one.